Alright guys, so a quick update video on the beta FPV GoPro Lite that I made a video on a couple weeks back. A lot of things have changed. Not super important, but I wanted to get this video out and share with you some of the things that are different now versus when I made the original video. First off, I did make a mistake in the assembly of the video that some people pointed out. This little lens ring holder here should go on the outside like this and not on the other way around. I had it backwards, and also this screw here shouldn't be there. It actually isn't needed, and I found out because I actually bought the full kit. This is actually the GoPro Lite assembled by Beta FPV from their factory, and externally looks the same, but you can see the ring, the lens ring holder is on the outside there, and there is no screw there on the bottom. You just need those two long screws on the outside here to hold that lens in place, and I just lazy and didn't want to take it apart again to just take that one screw out, so that isn't needed. So this was the, I guess, version 1 of the case, and it's a little bit complicated to explain, but let me show you. Here's the actual version 1 of the case here with the BEC board. It's got all the same parts, but they added 2 new parts here that weren't in my original kit, and these are the 2 parts. Here are these 2 little shims, and I'll just put up some pictures here where they're supposed to go. So basically on this board here, which is this is the version 1.0 of the BEC board, they basically are spacers that go in certain spots. I think one goes up here on top and one down here that support the board, so this basically plugs into the GoPro board, but then there's this little gap between the 2 boards, and those shims act as spacers to, I guess, prevent the 2 boards from bending or hitting each other, and that's what those are. And I don't have those in this camera, and I didn't open up this one to see if they installed in this one, but I think they told me that it was installed in this one. However, that's if you have the version 1.0 board. You can actually get these STL files for these little shims. You can get the STL files off of the Beta FPV site and print them yourself. I think these are just printed in PLA. So if you need them, they are on the site if you need them. But they've updated the BEC boards, so let me show you what's different. So this is I think this one's the 1.0. Yeah, 1.0 BEC board. And then I have another one here. This is the updated version. And some of you guys are asking me questions about this, so went ahead and got one of these as well. This is the version 1.1. And I'll just show you them side by side. So I don't know if you guys, it's pretty obvious to me what's different. Instead of using the shims now, they actually added these spacers there, but I think these are capacitors. I don't know if they're functional or not. You can see that they add a little bit of space there on top of the board. So when you plug this into the main GoPro board, then it's not going to bend here, for example, or basically it'll bend at this juncture here because there's space between the 2 boards. So they've added that. And then the other thing I can see is on the front, if you look at, let's look at this way here. This is going to be hard to show. All right, so this one here is the 1.1 on the right, and the 1.0 is on the left. And they've just added a few extra capacitors, it looks like. Well, there's a shunt. They've added a shunt there. Right? Well, that actually they've been removed. There's a little shunt right there that's been removed. And something's different there. Trying to see what's different here. Obviously the BEC looks the same. And you got some extra capacitor parts over there that aren't here. That's the LED. The record and mode button, the power buttons are the same. So that's what's different. I don't know functionally what's different. I'm just showing you what it looks like different physically. And obviously they put these little parts here because they're saying that the shunts or the shims aren't required, the spacers aren't required anymore if you happen to get the updated kit. If you get the kit with the 1.1 board, this kit is probably not going to come with these little shims, so just be aware of that. Okay, so one more thing, or actually a few more things. So I don't actually use this little plug anymore. That's if you want to use the third pin for the signal for the pin IO stuff. If you want to turn on the recording, stop recording via your transmitter, you can set that up via the pin IO commands. And I think in the original, or like the original instructions, I think they were using like the I think it was the LED pad, which was, I think, incorrect. And now they switched to the instructions. I think it's using the buzzer pad, I believe. So I actually have no interest in using the transmitter for that kind of stuff. But if you do, then the instructions are in the manual for this on the Beta FPV website. You can check it out there. What I just do is I just plugged in just a power connector here, and then I have a corresponding connector soldered to my battery lead on my drone. And I just have it soldered onto here, which are these pads here. So these 3 pads here correspond to these here: record, ground, and bat. Record, ground, and positive. And so you can just solder to this directly. If you want to use this in the UMA 85X or 95X, and you want to get this flat, you can desolder this connector and then just solder here, and then it'll be nice and flat for that setup if you want to do that. Yeah, just soldering that might be a little bit tricky. I think you're gonna have to get at it right here. There's 3 pins there, and then I think it's soldered to the board on the edge right there and right there. So probably isn't gonna be too hard. Probably just rip it off. It won't matter if you know for sure you're gonna be using these pads here. Even if you rip off those pads, these are electrically the same, so you can just use those. Now the micro SD card slot has this little, I guess, little door here that protects it. But you can see mine's kind of loose now because it's TPU. You see it's cracked, so I feel this is going to be popping off pretty soon. But obviously, to get the door open, you got to bend this all the way down. And on a new one, you see it's nice and tight. So at the beginning, getting the SD card in there is kind of difficult. So I'm going to suggest to Beta FPV maybe extending this down a little bit more, so this is puts a little bit less strain on this door here, or redesigning it. Perhaps maybe another version 1.2 might be out pretty soon. Okay, so last thing, the ND filter comes with this ND filter holder, and it'll fit most typical ND filters that are out there. Like this one here is from Telesun. This is like ND4816 set. It's $23. It's pretty inexpensive, but this design, while it saves weight, is flawed because it'll allow a light leak in through these holes on the side. Because if you have the filter on here, the light will come through the back, and then your footage will get basically some. It'll look like light leaking through the sides. And I had that issue. I had that trouble on some of my footage. So I redesigned the holder. So if you download this, you can download this STL from the Beta FPV site. So I just downloaded it and I remixed it, and I just basically created a basically filled in those holes there and then reprinted it. If you guys want this STL, let me know. I'll upload it to Thingiverse, but I'm not sure if this is going to be the best solution for the ND filters anyway. Let me just show you how much this thing weighs. So you would just stick this in here like so, and it'll be like this. And obviously you probably want to print this in black, not white. This is just for the this is just an example for the video. And get that in there, and then you just stick this on like so, and it would look like this. But you can see there's you know, this TPU part here is a little bit of a gap right there. So you're gonna have to kind of fiddle with this and make sure that this is actually all the way in. If you get it totally flat against the glass and then you put it on, it should not have any light leakage. You do it like that. There. So yeah, that looks pretty flat now. So you shouldn't have any reflections inside if you set up like this. But I'm thinking this is kind of on the heavy side. So let's just see with the adapter and the ND filter. It's coming in at 7.6 grams. It's pretty heavy. Let's see the GoPro Lite. It's 27.2. So this, and adding this ND filter here is quite. It does bump up the weight significantly. So I'm thinking about making a different kind of adapter for this, maybe something smaller, and I'll be getting some filters from Camera Butter, and we'll see if you know, basically you don't need all of this extra stuff on the outside. That's basically, this is where all the extra weight is, and then use a smaller TPU adapter. I think you could get the weight down significantly and still have a pretty good ND filter on there. So I'm going to do that in a future video because I actually don't even have the Camera Butter filters yet. So again, I'm still waiting for those. But those are going to be a little more expensive. Instead you get a 3 for $23 here. I think they're like about $10 each. So it's a little bit more. So, but I'm going to see if I can try and get the weight down. So obviously the goal of all this is to get the weight down as much as possible. Okay, so that's it for this video. This went on way longer than I expected to, but I wanted to get this information out to you guys because this has been a pretty popular video. So I want to make sure that you had all the updated information on the stuff at least I had for now, and I will obviously have more videos on this later. I'm going to do that. Obviously, I set the updated ND filter on this. And that's about it. If you guys have any questions, let me know, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.